Hello, Happy Chanukah. Welcome to another edition of Congregation Agudas Shalom's This Week in Jewish History. This week, I'd like to take us on a trip to our friendly neighbors up north, Canada. Why are we going to Canada? Well, this week marks two historic occasions in the history of the Jews of Canada. One, the passing of Aaron Philip Hart, who you see on the top left of your screens, sometimes considered to be the father of Canadian Jewry. He passed away in the year 1800. This week also marks the anniversary of the founding of Canada's first Jewish congregation, Congregation Shearith Israel of Montreal, in 1768. Hart arrived in Canada, specifically in Quebec, in 1759. He is considered the father of Canadian Jewry by virtue of the fact of being the most financially successful of Canada's early Jewish pioneers. But this gives us the opportunity to step away from Hart for a few moments and to learn in general about the early history of Canada's Jewish community. The history of Jews in what is today's Canada actually goes back to the very end of the 17th century, when in 1697, a Dutch Jewish merchant by the name of Joseph de la Penha was granted rights to the territory of Labrador in eastern Canada by the King of England. In 1732, a Jew by the name of Ferdinand Jacobs came to work for the Hudson Bay Company, which was heavily involved in the fur business. And indeed, throughout the 18th and 19th centuries, Jews remained very involved in Canada's flourishing fur business. Sorry, guys. As we mentioned earlier, 1768 brought the founding of Canada's first Jewish congregation, She'erith Israel, or the Spanish and Portuguese Synagogue of Montreal. And interestingly, even though most of the congregants were of Ashkenazic descent, the congregation adopted the Sephardic rite and remained attached to the Spanish and Portuguese synagogues of London and New York. During the American Revolution, with fighting also taking place in Canada, most of Canada's Jews remained loyal to the Crown of England, presumably feeling that this would best promote their financial interests. And as we progress, during the 19th century, as more and more Jews immigrated to Canada, communities began sprouting up in different locales, including New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and of course, Toronto, Ontario. Today, Canada is counted as the fourth largest Jewish community in the world, right after Israel, the United States, and France. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, and a happy Chanukah.